What if I told you that that next innocent-looking PDF in your inbox could completely hijack your computer without you even realizing it? Yeah, that invoice.pdf might not be from your client. Let's be real. At some point, we've all gotten a sketchy email attachment or image. Maybe it's a resume, a bank statement, or a funny meme from your coworker that you kind of trust. So you hover over it, you hesitate, and then you think, it's probably fine, right? Well, you would be wrong. In today's video, we're diving deep into a free open source tool that lets you safely open any file, PDFs, Word documents, images, you name it. It's called Dangerzone, and it could literally save your computer from getting hacked. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to use Dangerzone, how it works behind the scenes, and how it can protect you, your friends, and even your grandma from digital disasters. So the real problem is that files are the new Trojan horse. Because here's the thing, cybercriminals are not dumb. They know the easiest way into your system isn't brute forcing your password or guessing your IP address. It's tricking you into opening something. PDFs, images, and Office files can carry hidden code, scripts that automatically run the second you open them. You don't need to click install or run setup.exe, just viewing the file can infect your system. And that is what makes email attachments and DMs so dangerous. You probably think it's harmless, but it's not. In the cybersecurity world, everyone preaches, don't open files from strangers. But that advice doesn't always help, does it? Because sometimes you have to open attachments. If you're a journalist, a freelancer, HR manager, or even a small business owner, part of your job is to open files from people you don't know yet. So how do you stay safe and still do your job? This is where a tool like Dangerzone really comes in handy. Dangerzone is an open source tool created by Micah Lee. This name may ring a bell if you've ever used OnionShare, the secure file sharing app. Micah built this for journalists, people who constantly receive files from strangers and can't afford to get hacked. But it's not just for journalists anymore. Anyone who opens email attachments can benefit from it, and that means you. Here's how it works in simple terms. You drag a suspicious file into Dangerzone. Dangerzone opens that file in a secure, isolated sandbox using Docker. I will go into more detail on how Docker works in Dangerzone here in a minute. It then converts it into a safe copy, a version that looks identical but has all dangerous code stripped from it. You open the safe copy, and boom, you get your info without any malware. PDFs are one of the most abused file types in cyber attacks. Why is that? Because they're universal. Everyone opens them, and they can hide scripts, macros, or even embedded files. Imagine you open a client contract.pdf, and hidden inside is a small script that calls home to a hacker's server and installs spyware. Now they can log your keystrokes, steal your passwords, and access your camera. It's that easy. But Dangerzone cuts this risk by never letting the original file touch your operating system. It opens it up somewhere else, inside of a sandbox. Think of a sandbox like a playpen for files. It is completely separate from your real computer. Even if the file inside tries to throw a tantrum, it cannot break out. Even if the file inside tries to throw a tantrum, it cannot break out. In tech terms, the sandbox is created using Docker, which acts like a lightweight virtual machine. It spins up a tiny temporary environment isolated from your real system, just to open that one file. Then instead of saving the file as is, Dangerzone takes a screenshot-like replica of what it looks like. You can read it, you can print it, or you can review it. But the malicious code, that's gone. That's like opening a potentially infected Word document, but only seeing its photocopy instead of touching the original. And that is why Dangerzone is such a big deal. It lets you stay curious and safe at the same time. Alright, let's make this practical. Here's how you can start with Dangerzone in under 5 minutes. First, you're going to go to dangerzone.rocks, and then we're going to download Dangerzone. Now, the installer is available for Mac, Windows, and Linux. I'm going to do this demonstration on Windows since most people out there are using Windows. So I'm going to click download for Windows, click save, and once it finishes downloading, you can come up here and click on the installer. We're going to click next. We're going to agree to the end user license agreement, click next. Tell it where to install, click next, click install. And the first time you launch it, it's going to tell you that it needs Docker to run. Now, how to install and use Docker is beyond the scope of what this video is, but it's a free tool, and you can simply follow their link. And then in my case, I'm going to download Docker Desktop for Windows. So now that we have Docker installed, when I go to open up Dangerzone, I'm going to be met by this installing Dangerzone container image message. It's kind of useful because you don't have to learn any Docker commands. Dangerzone does everything for you in the background. And here's my current Docker desktop running configuration right now. Move it out of the way. And then once it opens, you have this handy little drop box where you can drag and drop any type of PDF into it that you want to. You can even navigate to a download if you wanted to from here. And I'm going to put a random PDF over in here just for an example. And here's where you can save it, and it will move the original document over to an unsafe subdirectory. This is just another way they keep bad files separate from safe ones. And then we'll click Convert to Safe Document. And Dangerzone opens the file inside of the Sandbox, strips out any dangerous elements, and outputs a clean version of the PDF for you. So you'll get a new file that looks identical. This is your sanitized copy, so you can open it freely. So there's no coding and no terminal commands for you to learn whatsoever. And so you can save it somewhere where you can find it easier if you want to, whatever you want to do with it. And a good real world example would be, let's say somebody sent you an updated invoice for an order you were getting, and they put in the subject line, please review ASAP. And it's a PDF. Everything looks normal, the logo's right, the wording seems fine, but maybe something seems a little bit off as you're reading it. Instead of double clicking the link, you can drag it over into Dangerzone. Dangerzone will process it and spit out a clean copy. And when you open that, you will see what looks like the same invoice. But here's the impressive part. If the original had any malware in it whatsoever, it never touched your system. It was trapped and neutralized before it could do any harm. And that is the true power of using this tool, Dangerzone. It's like running every suspicious file through a digital hazmat chamber. Now here's where most people go wrong. They'll install antivirus software and think that they're untouchable. But here's the harsh truth. Antivirus reacts. It doesn't prevent. By the time your antivirus detects something, the damage might already be done. And that's where Dangerzone flips that model on its head. Dangerzone is proactive. Instead of trying to detect viruses, it removes the possibility of infection altogether by isolating the file before it can act. The challenge is, people don't use tools like this because they assume it's too complicated or it takes too much time. But we're going to debunk that real quick. Because once you've installed Docker, using Dangerzone is faster than making a cup of coffee. And it's designed to be foolproof. You don't have to be a hacker or a tech wizard. Even your parents could use it, and that's saying something if yours are like mine. And because Dangerzone is open source, it's transparent. That means security researchers around the world can inspect the code and confirm if it's safe or not. No shady background processes, no hidden data collection. In fact, if you look over here at Dangerzone's GitHub page, you will see that it is actively maintained. That means that updates have been rolling out consistently. Bug fixes, new file types supported, and better OCR for scanning docs. It's rare to find a security tool that's both simple and just as powerful as Dangerzone is. Now, some common questions that people typically ask is, can Dangerzone open every file type? And the answer is no, not every single one. But the most common formats you'll ever deal with are PDFs, PNG, JPEG, SVG, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and text files. If it's something weird and proprietary, like an obscure AutoCAD format, probably not. But for everyday life, you are covered. Another question you could ask is, can malware escape the Docker sandbox? Well, technically, yes, it's possible, but it's insanely rare for that to happen. It's like saying, can a mosquito push through a steel vault door? Yes, in theory, if it evolves 1,000 years or so and learns Kung Fu, but realistically, you're safe. Another question that some people ask is this better than a virtual machine? If you look at it in terms of convenience, then it is absolutely better than a VM. But virtual machines are powerful, but they're slow and heavy. Dangerzone gives you roughly 95% of the same security in 5% of the time. And here's what's actually going on under the hood when you click Convert to Safe Document. Dangerzone tells Docker to spin up a temporary container. That container opens your file using a stripped down Sandbox version of Linux. Inside, it renders your document visually, removing any executable code. It then saves this rendered image as a new clean PDF. The container is then deleted, and the original is moved to an unsafe folder. If you now go to my downloads folder after the PDF that we opened in Dangerzone, you will notice that I have an unsafe folder. If I click on that unsafe folder, this is the original document right here. So we are left with a brand new version that looks the same but can't harm your system. It's the cybersecurity version of putting a criminal in a glass box. You can observe him, but they can't touch you. And here's the aha moment once you start using Dangerzone. You'll realize just how many files you used to open blindly. You'll stop feeling anxious every time you double-click a random document. You can still work, share, collaborate, all without fear. And the peace of mind you'll now have, it's priceless. You'll also start to see how much more secure your workflow becomes. Imagine your entire office using this. HR files, client contacts, scanned IDs, all safely processed. No one ever gets hacked from invoice Q4 PDF again. That's the kind of small change that prevents massive problems later. So let's wrap it up. You now know that malicious files are not just a big company problem, they're everyone's problems. From emails to DMs to USB drives, all it takes is one bad click. And Dangerzone gives you a simple, powerful way to protect yourself without needing to change your workflow or buy some fancy expensive software. It's open source, it's free, it's fast, and it just works. Whether you're a journalist investigating corruption, a student downloading class material, or just someone tired of worrying about malware, this tool gives you your digital peace of mind back. Micah Lee and the open source community deserve serious credit for this. It's one of the few tools that genuinely makes security easier, not harder. If this video helped you, hit that like button and drop a comment. What sketchy file you're finally going to open safely with Dangerzone. And hey, before you go, watch my next video on OnionShare. It's another genius tool from the same developer that lets you share files completely anonymously. Stay safe, stay curious, and I will see you in the next one.